So let's take a look at the calculator app and see if I can teach you some tricks that you didn't already know. So let's start off with, let's look at conversions. Now you probably know that you can convert things like lengths or volume or area, that kind of thing. But did you know you can convert time durations? So for instance, say you want to find out how many seconds there are in a day. So you would type 1 for 1 day and then convert time and select from days to seconds. And now you get how many seconds there are in a day. If you wanted to find out how many seconds are in a year, you could do it just the same way. Just 1 and then convert time from years to seconds. Now you can also use the calculator as a kind of counter. The way you do that is you simply use the ability for it to repeat the last operation. So for instance I would type 0 plus 1 and now when I hit equals it will add 1 to 0 and the result is 1. But if I hit equals again it repeats the plus 1 to give me 2, 3, 4, 5. Every time I hit equals it adds 1 up. Now you can use the equals key on your keyboard or the return key on your keyboard to do the same thing. So then you can use it as a simple counter. So if you need to count something by simply tapping on your keyboard, you can do it using the calculator app. You can also use the calculator for random numbers. So to do that you need to switch to the scientific mode. And when you're in the scientific mode you can use the rand button here. Pressing it will give you a random number between 0 and 1. So it'll always be something just less than 1. So in this case 0.509, etc. Now you can use this, say, to flip a coin. So anything that's below 0.5 could be tails. Anything above is heads. If you want to do something more complex, like say a random number between 1 and 10, just hit the random key, multiply by the value that you want, 10, and now you get a random number here before the decimal point that's going to be between 1 and 10. It actually will be between 0 and 9. So you're going to want to add 1 or just count the 0 as a 10 value. Now let's say you do a complex calculation using the calculator. So we'll just do one right here. And you get the result and you want to actually export the entire calculation to show it in a document. Well, you can do that using the paper tape. So show paper tape will bring up all the previous calculations that you've done in this session and you can see the last one there and you can select it and copy and paste out of paper tape. You could also print the tape as well. Now if you don't want all the previous calculations, you just want to do one, you would use the clear button first and then go and start your calculation and it would be the only thing there in the paper tape. Now you can also use copy and paste to put numbers into and take numbers out of the calculator app. So for instance, say I'm working on a document and I type the following sentence and now I want to get the answer. I could select this number here, copy it with Command C, go to calculator and paste with Command V. You could see here the shortcuts. Paste it, multiply, copy from here, paste again, and it's just as if I had typed it. And now I can hit equals and now I get the result. And now I can copy Command C and paste it here into my document. Also for this kind of thing it's handy to turn on the thousands separators. And now you can see it there. And now when I copy from the calculator app and paste it in, I get those commas there as well. Another thing you may want to use in the view menu is decimal places. And instead of having it set to the default 15, you can set it to 1 to have just one decimal place. Maybe that's all you need in your calculations. So if I type 1.25, I add equals, it's going to round it to 1.3. But it's important to note it still knows the number is 1.25. So for instance, if I add 1.26 to that, if it was 1.3 plus 1.26, I would get 1.56, which would round to 1.6. However, it knows that first number was really 1.25. So 1.25 plus 1.26 is really 2.51, which is going to round 2.5 like that. So the number of decimal places is just the visible number of decimal places. It's cosmetic. The actual number is retained in memory. So here are two nice features you get with your Mac Calculator app that you don't get on a regular calculator. Say you go to type a number and you mess up. On a regular calculator you would just have to start again. There's no way to undo entering that last number. But on the Mac you have your delete key or your backspace key on your keyboard. You can use that and backspace and enter the correct number in. So that's really nice. You also have the ability to have the results spoken. So you can go to speech, speak result, and you can get the result. So 25 plus 36, and I hit equals and I will hear the result.
61.
You can also do speak each button pressed, which will help you, prevent you from making mistakes as you type in long calculations.